backyard. So this whole area was all grass up against the house. So we ripped that all up. So we ripped up all the grass with a sod cutter, cultivated the soil and added peat moss and compost, and then planted it up with some canna lilies that we had started from seed, and also hardy hibiscus that we had started from seed, and later added transplanted peonies and coleus. And then these are the peonies that we transplanted, so obviously those we'll need to cut back. So we'll see if the tubers come back, but we left the bamboo stakes in there from the other ones that we transplanted from my grandma's yard. And then the canna lilies. So we had done this in the old house where we planted them against the foundation. So normally in our zone, they're a bulb that would need to be dug up. But new term for me that I learned, that we are creating a microclimate. So we pretty much, the sun will heat up the side of the house and keep it warm enough that the bulbs won't freeze. So that's how it worked for us at our old house on our sunny side. So this is our pretty much almost full sun side. So that's what we're hoping will happen over here with the canna lilies. And then we'll just not look at that. It'll be a whole, I want to do a whole berry patch. Blueberries, raspberries, a raised bed of strawberries because we don't want them to spread. And then down the line of this area, and then the other side, arborvitae. And I have the arborvitae that I bought. We will need approximately 25 of these trees. We definitely need some more privacy. And there is like a storm drain right where that lattice is. The lattice is supposed to be like on either side of our pool deck, but we're storing a lot of stuff under there, so we haven't put it back. So there's a storm drain kind of right after the lattice, so we'll stop the arborvitae right there. And then I want to put a, like, it's on my wish list, a blue chiffon Rose of Sharon right in that corner. So pretty. But basically we had like extended this bed. The fence was right there. There was like nasty weeds and dead soil and just dead looking soil and all that stuff. So we put. This was what the area looked like before we had planted sod. The soil was compacted really hard. It was full of weeds, so we cleaned it up, cultivated, and planted sod. This was after we planted the fresh sod, and oh my gosh, it looks so much better. Some grass. So some of this grass is new, and then it was really extra mushy over there, and we had some leftover mulch, so I just threw some right there. But our rainbows are all set up. So Matt put the spigots and things on them, so they're all connected. See how the hose. So when that one fills up, like they're all supposed to fill up equally at the same time. And then they're on top of this platform. That we have some paver base and stuff underneath here, so that so they all stay level, so there's no like sinking and stuff. And then tons of extra hoses and drip tubes and a little bit of soil left. Oh, beautiful zinnias. I love it so much. So zinnias, super easy to grow, one of my favorites. I'm out here cutting these and making vases, and it's so fun. But this bed I wanted to look more like formal, I guess you could say. So I am going to do a bunch of perennials and stuff in here. We want to do little lime hydrangeas against this bay window, and then this bed is pretty wide. It's like deceiving right now, I think, because it's packed full of the zinnias, but fill in like lots of perennials and stuff in here. And then these will eventually get painted. Cover that up with lattice to mask it and hide it a little bit more. And probably just leave a small little path area like right here, because that's the one that we can attach a hose to. But then plantings here, and then another big Rosa Sharon bush kind of right here. So that's kind of the plan. And then the same thing that we're doing to the downspout in the front, we will do back here to bury this one, so that we can, you know, cover all this up and do plantings and stuff. And then we do have some milkweed back there. Balloon milkweed, I think. It also has another name. If you guys know milkweed, that's what it looks like up close. And then some other little transplants. We had some irises that we dug up from my grandma's yard. So they're kind of back in there. I'll probably take them up again and put them in a clump in front of the eventual Rosa Sharon bush. And then we have our little pond bed. So our pond is extra dirty right now. We need to filter it and clean it, but these are the coneflowers. So those are the Cheyenne Spirit. This is what the coneflower will look like in full bloom. And when we freshly planted them this year, one plant bloomed all red flowers and one plant bloomed all yellow flowers. So I was confused, thinking I got two different types of coneflower. But if they end up looking like this, they will be gorgeous. I cannot wait. They are all done, so I pruned off the dried up heads to collect the seeds, and then salvia, and then more of the gaillardia, the dusty millers. There was another blanket flower kind of right there, but that one was, he looked dead, and I just tugged on it a little bit and it just came right out of the soil. So we have a lot of clay. We did work in some compost and peat moss in here and cultivated it before we planted, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that all these perennials come back next year. I really hope so. Hardy favor, hardy hibiscus. We had these at our old house, so we collected seeds. The plant was actually like an anniversary present to me a couple of years ago, so I definitely wanted to somehow take the plant with us, but we left it and collected the seeds, and now we have more, so that's fun. There's nothing really coming up. Oh, here's a bud. There's another seed head is behind there. And then over here, so you guys, I'm extra chatty, so I might have to start another video for the vegetable garden. So we collected all that landscape stone from, yet again, Matt's parents' backyard. So that stone in particular is gonna go in this area. With that stone, it would go basically up to there. Just have an extension of our patio to tuck the hose off to the side, because our hose spigot is actually over here. But we'll tuck it off to the side, nice and neat. And then we have a hibiscus that lives inside. This is not hardy, so this one comes outside in the summer, and then we drag it inside in the winter. And then our parsley and our basil. Rosa Sharon cuttings from my grandma's backyard. So we just cut these off in root hormone and stuck them in, and basically each one of these is an individual bush. So, and it's so funny that this little cutting is blooming. Like, how pretty is that? And then this is just dry fitted. So leftover from, yet again, Matt's parents' backyard. So we want to do a little flagstone path here. Then we've got some patio cherry tomatoes up close to the house. And then this whole bed is just all a lot of pots and then just seeds. So we've got the queen red lime and orange lime and some green envy in here, I believe, too. And then pots of milkweed. We've got our 3 plumeria, one right there, one right there, one right there, the tuberose. We've got 2 hydrangeas in pots that we'll have to find a spot for because I know those probably are not the best, but we wintered them over last year, and all we do is basically dig a hole in the ground and then put the plant in the ground. And we did the same thing with that knockout rose. So, and they came back. So I'm hoping we do that again. They come back and then they'll get planted in the ground somewhere next year. And then here's more of the Rose of Sharon cuttings. So crazy. We just took that, cut it, rooted it, root hormoned it, and doing awesome. And then we just threw a bunch of seeds in here because this eventually too is going to be a more formal 4-season garden. Arborvitae against the fence, and then I'll insert a picture of the arbor that we want to build that's so pretty. That will be up against the back of this, so that we can grow some vines and then just have even more privacy. Here's our inspiration photo for the arbor. What we really like about this one is the pergola looking detail at the top, so that it doesn't just look like a plain looking privacy fence. So this is just a seed mix. I don't know if we saved the packet, but it took forever for these to come up, but it's so pretty, and I've used a lot of these in my cut flower arrangements. So the blue ones are the Chinese forget-me-nots. Lots of different bachelor's buttons, cornflower, pink, and there's that color, and then there's this one is new that just popped up that we noticed. So pretty. And then this was like a type of baby's breath, and then a lot of where are these little ones? I think this one was the Coreopsis. So I don't know if these are annuals or perennials, if they'll self-seed and come back. So I guess we'll have to see.